Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Cassandra, aka the Daily Wealth Ninja, and I am coming at you today to share with you something that I've learned from a Forex educational platform that if you are interested in learning more about, go ahead and hit me up on. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get started. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about support and resistance lines. Now, what are support and resistance lines? Basically, they're lines that you can put on a graph like for stocks, or in this instance, Forex, to show where support and resistance are. Now, these are basically lines, they're not really imaginary, I'll show you here in a second, but a support line is going to be on the bottom where you see a major change between the shift in the exchange of these currencies. So we see here that there's a downtrend of, let me go ahead and do this. We see that there is a downtrend, right, coming from here, going this direction. And then we see that there's an uptrend slightly right here. So this is where we might draw oops, there we go. So this would, well, actually that's the wrong, there we go. This might be about where we have the resistance line, which is where I'm sorry, the support line, because it's bouncing, it's being supported, right? Now, in order to really confirm that, you would also look to see what else might have happened, right? Is there anything else that correlates with this being part of that resistance line? And there kind of is right here. So if you were to, as we did before, draw this imaginary line right across here, we see that this seems to be a section where the price change between the pairs, the USD CAD here, the United States dollar and the Canadian dollar, kind of stay around. It bounces around a bit, but it does stay here. So this, in effect, actually, is probably not a good time to be trading on if you are doing the long term here. But what you'll see here is that this is the support, and this is a resistance, right? This is a resistance. You can confirm that here as well, right? And it's also a little bit of support, but I'm not sure that that would be really considered support by more professional traders. So this just gives you an idea of how to draw them. Now, you shouldn't draw these willy-nilly because that might be a little bit distracting and it might be a little incorrect for when you are looking for trends within the Forex market. So the very first step above everything is to start where the market actually is. So we're going to zoom in a little bit so we can kind of see these candlesticks better. Let's zoom in a whole lot because this one is actually short. Now, if you're not aware of what candlesticks are, Japanese candlesticks, they tell you a lot about what's been happening with the stock. So if you're looking at the MetaTrader 4 software, I'm using the one from LQD Forex broker. You can see that this is on the daily one view. So each of these candlesticks is one day. So in one day, so let's say if we hover over this one, we see that on June 21st, which is actually a day ahead of me because this is the USD CAD market, and I guess it's a different time zone that this is showing on. But for June 21, which again, I guess I'm not really sure how that's 21, but anyway, it shows you when the market opened. The USD CAD trade pair opened at 1.33084. Okay, it closed. Well, I guess this is currently going. I can't. Oh, no, I can't be going. I'll figure that out later. But it closed at 1.33119. So it gained. It grew in value by. I think that's a pip bet. By 0.00041. Okay, so if you look at the open, I don't know if I can. Boom, awesome. Okay, so here at the top, the very top of your what's called a wick, there's a couple of other names for it, but we're just going to stay with wick for now. The top of the wick is the high of that particular candlestick. So the high of this particular candlestick, which it says it's June 21, but I don't believe it. But the high is 1.33174, so that's why it's up here. The low, if you can imagine, is that bottom part of the wick, which it was here. So when it opened, it was 1.33084, right? And when it closed, it was 1.33120. So it increased in value by 0.00041, because that's 5. So the pairing between USD and CAD throughout the day increased by 0.0041. However, the high, right? So the high, which is going to be the top of the box, was 1.33174. So it was 0.0005 higher than what it closed on. So this is why you may or may not want to be a day trader, which is where you're trying to figure out what's on the day. So you would change the view of this MetaTrader to trade that way. But as you can see, since it went up and down so much, you might have had a bad day if you weren't in it for the long haul. But there's lots of different strategies, and you can find a lot of those in that educational platform that I was referring to. If you'd like more information, go ahead and send me a message. But yeah, so this, and then of course, the bottom part of the square is the low. So those are candlesticks. Let's go ahead and get back to the support and resistance. So we showed the support. But the very first thing is to, on that piece, right? The very first thing is to draw your support line about where your candlestick is. So we'll go over here, draw a line. I wish you could zoom in more, but we'll just say it's right there. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it's okay if you're a little less. You might make a little less money, but it's better to be on the cautious side, especially if you're starting out. So this is going to be your current resistance line. So if we zoom out, we can see what else has happened around that line. And if we zoom out a little bit more, this is a very good resistance line, because as you can see here, the price tended to stay around this time, around this place, and so it had a major shift here. So it had a downtrend, right? It had a major shift here, and it kind of stuck around here, right? It might have kept hitting that resistance. I'm sorry, that if it was hitting this way, it might have gone through and broken support. But if it was this way, it might have gone through and broken resistance, right? But it basically stayed around this area. So right now is a really big indicator that something's going to be happening. So if it breaks out, it most likely is going to stay at this support line, right? I'm sorry, resistance line, because we see that that was the most recent major peak of this chart, right? So that would be the next line that I would suspect let me undo that. Then let's move in just a little bit. Okay, so we know, well, I'm just going to do this a different way because I can't seem to get it to work just quite the way I'm looking for. So we're going to do insert shape arrow down, and we're going to put it right here because we know that this is about where we want to be for that line. So now that we have that, go ahead and zoom into that space. So here was about where that happened. So we put in another support, or excuse me, resistance. And then we'll zoom back out. Okay, so we've made our first resistance line where we currently are in the trades here in the history. We have another one here for this support, and then another one here for the other major support line in this section. So we'll draw that one. We'll just say it was about here. So at 1.33144, 1.37665, and 1.46115, we know that there's most likely going to be some major price changes, or we'll see what we see here where there's just central movement around that line. So once you've done your resistance lines, you can then draw your support lines. So it's the same process. Is you want to find your lower lows. And based off of this chart, it looks like those lower lows would be something along the lines of, I'd say here, and I'd say here, and I'd say a third one to be here. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking again to see where it might best be between these patches. So this first support is here, but if you look toward where these other ones are, it's centralized about here, I'd say. So I'd say that this would probably be a good support for that one. So for here, kind of about the same. Maybe a little bit higher. And then finally, here. Now if we zoom out, we see that it actually matches up right over here as well. So those three lines that we just drew match pretty well to here, right? So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to learn more about how to trade in Forex, which is so amazing because you have the opportunity to really learn a skill that would allow you to take something from a small investment and create a lifestyle from. Now, obviously not all results are typical and are based off of your efforts, but when you have an educational platform that teaches you what you need to know, gives you the tools and the leadership, you have the package wrapped up in gold, my friend. So if you want that information, go ahead and hit me up or leave a comment down below. Would love to connect with you, show you what's going on, and if you're interested, lock arms with you and get you to your success. So thanks so much for watching. Again, my name is Cassandra, aka the Daily Wealth Ninja, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.